talking to Boise State head coach Leon Rice, and he was more interested in talking football, to be honest with you, than he was talking hoops, man. This guy's a big-time gridiron fan. Wonder who he's got. I bet you Tom Brady. We'd love to have Tom Brady on this roster.
You know, I'll bet, being from where he's from, he grew up a Seahawks fan. He was asking about that Chargers-Raiders ending, and yeah, we had a good chat. Good chat with Leon today. Here's Grant Sherfield. Getting that one to roll in. An 85% free throw shooter is Sherfield. He just does everything right.
He does. He's got a unique, see how he kind of flips the ball around? It's a very unique free throw shooting routine. But yeah, to your point, Danny, like, how do you guard Grant Sherfield? I'm not actually sure, because he's pretty good in isolation. He's most efficient in pick and roll situations. He's got deep range. He's not a burner, right? He's not super fast, but he's really high basketball IQ.
Calling the foul there on Daniel Foster. That was Aycott with the ball.
Tried to hit him with the Steve Smith hesitation dribble right there, right? Steve Smith, the former Michigan State Spartan in college, and then went on to have a great career in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks. That was his move.
Alford not happy with that.
I think he got the call. I'm not sure why he's not happy.
That's what I was saying.
He's right here, Keyjab, number 24. They put, yep, that was a good sell. Also, there was contact. I'm not saying it was a flop by Trey Coleman, but it was a really nice sell by him.
Here's Blackshear with a little step back. Amish with the board. Inside to Armish. Good ball movement by the Broncos, and then Armish fouled by Warren Washington.
That was amazing ball movement, to be honest with you. I thought Armish had a chance to go up on the strong side initially. He makes that pass to the baseline right here. He could have gone up there, maybe drawn a foul, but he trusts his teammates that when you give the ball up, that you're going to be able to get it back. That time, a really nice job of going into the chest of Washington.
In and out for Armish. 5th-year senior, the 3rd leading rebounder in the Mountain West Conference.
Had some back problems early last year, and he finally got more healthy, and he turned the corner. He was a load, especially late in the season, for Boise State, who, like Nevada, they want to play inside out. Yeah, they're a perimeter-oriented offense, but they want to get the post offensive player established.
Armish has struggled from the line this year, shooting just 40%. Sherfield, too much. Air ball.
Sherfield 0 of 4 to start this morning.
They're going to call the offensive foul on Abu Keyjab. Here's another look.
6'7", 220 pounds is Keyjab, so it hurts. That's Daniel Foster. That one hurts a little bit. But he's willing to get his team an extra possession. Every possession is going to matter. I really think that this game is going to go down to the final 5 minutes or so. And those possessions right there can make the difference.
Some contact there. Keyjab. Blackshear. No foul call, letting him play. Big man on big man there. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Sherfield definitely not finding his rhythm yet. He has yet to hit from the field. Discussion between Steve Alford and our official. Alford in his 31st year as a head coach. You see that number, and when you can remember his playing days at Indiana, It puts a little more gray in my beard,
Oh,
man.
my gosh. Yeah, but he's a college legend. A 4-year starter for Bob Knight. Won a national championship there. When he graduated, he was Indiana's all-time leading scorer. This is what they're looking at, folks. If you're wondering why this game has stopped, they're going to the monitor to look at that elbow right there to key jab. And they just stopped it after Boise State got that rebound. They just stopped it to go into to look at it.
So it was interesting because Blackshear also, there was a phantom something that got him reacting as well. So I'll be curious to see how they sort this one out. Watch this here. So it's Blackshear with the elbow to key jab there and makes contact.
But key jab's in his space. I think Blackshear kind of just, he was flopping a little bit. But like, to me, that's not a foul on Blackshear. Even though there was an elbow, you cannot just put your chin right underneath someone's jersey and expect not to get an elbow to the head. I mean, Blackshear was making a normal basketball play. They call it a rip through. You grab the ball and you rip that elbow through to create space. If a defender is in that space, that is not an offensive foul.
Certainly did not look malicious.
But they didn't call the defensive foul, so I don't think that they can change it now. I think they're just going to not call anything. But I have been wrong before, Dan, and I welcome being wrong again.
As have I. I just appreciate when they expedite the process.
Sure.
As I'm sure everybody does who's watching. Here's another look. Blackshear with that rip through.
So call it a cylinder, right? So imagine if you're in remember back in the day, Dan, when they had phone booths, just a single person phone booth. It's like, imagine that just being your personal space. The defensive player cannot just climb in the phone booth with you and expect, you not to elbow them or get them off.
How many players can you fit in one phone booth? It's funny, anybody under the age of 30 has no idea what a phone booth is.
My kids don't know what a phone booth is. They see them at museums every now and then, but no. Why wouldn't they just call them on the cell phone?
I mean, we're a whisker away from the home phone going along the lines of the phone booth, right? And who has a home phone line anymore? I'm one of the few. So a 5-point lead for Boise State with just under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. And he's certainly longer than seemingly necessary stoppage here.
I think these coaches are just grateful to be on the floor. Yes, that video review took probably 4 minutes too long, but all right, we're back playing. We're not in a COVID pause, right? Look at the bright side.
Ball foul called on Boise State. You're absolutely right. I mean, listen, Nevada played 3 games in December. 4 games over a 42-day span. Boise State hasn't been on the court for a game since December 28th. So I think you're absolutely right.
Nevada's the one that looks really rusty, though. 4 for 15 is Nevada from the field, as Cambridge is going to try and correct that. But it could be worse for Nevada, right? You're shooting 5 for 16 from the field. You're only down 3.
Cambridge has hit a couple of tough shots, as he is wont to do. And rebound goes out to Blackshear.
Wow.
They're going to say Boise State ball. Baker thought that it was Armstrong knocked it out of bounds. Let's take another look here.
Definitely. Oh, that's really close.
It looked like it went off his finger.
The referee was standing right there, so I trust him. I mean, he was standing 5 feet away from that play.
Cop working on Foster. Right short.
It's part of what Boise State wants to do offensively. They're going to back you down with their guards.
Tough shot from Blackshear as he's falling away. Shaver comes down with a rebound.
What a pass.
Couldn't quite finish it. Here's Cambridge again. Check shot for him. back down to Kejab.
Well, Cambridge didn't have the ultra green light before. He does now with Sherfield on the bench.
Shaver hits the triple.
Talked about how important Marcus Shaver is to this Boise State offense. One of the best three-point shooters on the team, 39% coming in. He's only failed to reach double figures in scoring just one time, did Shaver, and they lost.
And the crazy thing about that one game, he didn't reach double figures. He didn't score the whole game. So it's either double figures or nothing for Shaver. Thank goodness it's usually double figures. 21-15, 7:21 to go. Welcome back to the Lawlor Events Center in Reno. The visiting Broncos up by 6 in the first half here against Nevada, primarily because they're shooting better. Nevada shooting just 27% from the floor so far.
And Grant Sherfield, the leading scorer for Nevada, starting this game 0 for 5. That was exactly how he started the last game Nevada played against New Mexico. He was 0 for 5. He is a guy that sometimes does take a little bit to get warmed up. A better second half player than a first half player. But, you know, watching tape on Sherfield, I'm most impressed with just his demeanor. He is a true leader and point guard out there. He doesn't go into any games thinking, I have to score X amount of points or we're going to lose. He just plays the game.
All going to stay here talking about Sherfield coming in, averaging almost 19 points per game, the 5th leading scorer in the Mountain West Conference. Aycott on the inbounds, gets it back. Here's Shaver from deep. Rice with the rebound. Freshman on the drive, Tyson Degenhart, good use of the left hand.
Degenhart's been really impressive. One of the better three-point shooters. I always say his three-point shot is the best weapon that he has in his bag. Well, he's already scored 2 layups at the rim, so kind of proving me wrong a little bit.
Baker, nothing going. Degenhart ejected into the starting lineup 9 games ago. And we welcome in everybody just joining us on FS1. Boise State up by 8 on Nevada. And for the Pack, it's been a difficult shooting night thus far. Just 5 of 19 from the floor. That's 26%. Haven't really been able to find their flow.
And this is their leading scorer, Grant Sherfield, number 25. That was almost 20 points a game. He started 0 of 5 in this game, and he also started 0 for 5 in Nevada's last game against New Mexico. So they need him to get going.
Guarded by Trey Coleman.
This is Boise State's point guard, folks. Emmanuel Aycott is 6'8", but he plays the point guard position. I mean, he shares it too with Marcus Shaver, Abu Kejab. You'll see him bring the ball up the floor, but this young man is the one who leads them in assists, and they give him the freedom at any time to turn his back to his defender and play out of the post.
Aycott leads this Bronco team in 3-pointers. Came in, averaging 11 points per game. Also in assists, as you mentioned.
Turnovers have been an issue for Aycott. Certainly could clean that up, but he's made a 3 in every single game so far this season. He's been really consistent for Leon Rice's squad. And remember, he played 2 seasons at Arizona. I remember he was a freshman on that DeAndre Ayton-led Arizona team. Arizona went 27-8 that year. They got a 4 seed. They lost to Buffalo in the NCAA tournament. And Aycott said, you know what, I think I might need a fresh start. And he's been a great fit here with the Broncos.
Looks like they're just checking the monitors. Make sure that foul was on Trey Coleman. Aycott was the number 27 recruit in that 2017 recruiting class, the highest ranked prep player at Boise State in any sport. And there's Sherfield, first field goal of the game for Sherfield. Came in, as we mentioned, averaging nearly 19 points per.
And he's a junior. He hasn't graduated yet, but he's got a PhD in picking up.
Oh, what? Goodness! Emmanuel Acott dropping the hammer.
He's still flexing right now on defense.
Sherfield fires, can't hit. Man, that was big time.
Oh, this play is so nice. We got to see it twice. How about behind the back and then rises up? That's too late if you're Will Baker. He was standing in the middle of that charge circle underneath the basket. You're not going to block a lot of shots there. The only one that you're going to get your fingertips on is one that bounces off your head after it goes in.
This time he hits the three. Emmanuel Acott starting to heat up for the Broncos. 2 for 2 from distance, leading the way with 11 points for Boise State. Acott's coming in, clear it out. Go here in the first half, and the story of the last minute or so is that man, Emmanuel Acott, leading all scorers with 11 points. And talk about the inside-outside presence, a thunderous dunk, and then he hits a three on the following possession.
That was a beautiful play, showing off his unique versatility. I mean, look at his body and the way he moves out there. He's a two-way player as well. And don't forget that this Boise State Bronco team ranks 18th in the country in defensive efficiency, according to KenPom. They held Fresno State to just 55 points in their last Mountain West game. That was Fresno State's second lowest total of the year. This is a Bronco team that is capable of locking you down. Now, they had trouble last year guarding Grant Sherfield and Des Cambridge from Nevada. They lost all 3 games to Nevada last year, did Boise State. I thought it cost them a chance to go to be an at-large team in the NCAA tournament.
See the 11-2 scoring run for Boise State over the last 3+ minutes. Acott going to work on the smaller Cambridge, who's called for the foul. Talk about that defense for Boise State. They have really clamped down coming into the season. Leon Rice said he thought this could be one of his better defensive teams he's ever had in Boise.
Yeah, they're not as good offensively, if we're being honest. They've been better. They haven't been as good offensively as Leon Rice's teams have been in the past. But this defense is, they haven't allowed a team to score more than 60 points in their win streak. And Acott continues. I mean, Nevada's got to do something here. They got to double team him. They got to put somebody else on him that has length.
Acott, his third three-pointer of the game, 14 points now for the Boise State point guard. There's Sherfield hitting a tough drive and finish for Grant Sherfield. It has been a slow start so far for Grant Sherfield. Not the case for Emmanuel Acott. On fire for the Broncos. Boise State looking good here in Reno, 32-19. Can't blame both teams for feeling a little bit rusty, right? It has been a while. January 1st since the Broncos have been back on the court. And then 11 days for Nevada. It has been quite some time. New Year's Day, the last time they actually played the game, but these two teams have been in the flow.
Yeah, especially Acott. He's not showing any rust whatsoever. He came into this game as Boise State's third leading scorer. He's their starting point guard. He leads them in assists, but he has been on fire, and he's doing it in a variety of ways, right? Showing you what he can do from 3. That dunk was beautiful on Will Baker's head. This is a step back. He also has 4 assists in this game, but most importantly, 0 turnovers. It's been an issue for him. He's been a little bit careless with the ball at times, but not tonight. He's been special.
Both programs, after starting the season slowly, really playing their best basketball of the year before that COVID pause. Boise State coming in on a 7-game winning streak. Nevada 6-1 in their last 7. The only loss coming on the road in Kansas. And that was a game that was thrown together in about 48 hours. Yeah. And most teams that go on the road to Lawrence are not going to come out with a victory.
Pretty much every team's going to lose in Lawrence. But it was interesting. Kansas forced 21 turnovers by Nevada. They outscored them 46-14 in the paint. But it was a lesson learned by the Wolfpack team.
Shaver's short. They just collapsed on Armish in the paint, triple teamed. And Shaver had a good look.
Shaver's been good so far. He's already got 7 points. He's aggressive offensively. He's their shortest starter, but he plays a lot bigger than he is. He's also their best perimeter on-ball defender, according to Leon Rice, especially in pick-and-roll situations. He has a knack for getting over screens and avoiding fouls.
Trey Coleman. And it has not been a great free throw shooting night on Nevada. And LA alongside Casey Jacobson, 12-point lead for Boise State. And there's Acott again, a little bit too strong. Key jab there to get it right back to him.
Nevada went with a 1-3-1 zone look right there. They give up 2 open shots to Boise State, maybe 2 open. Maybe Kijab needs a guy in his face.
Baker. Armish corrals it.
Baker is a guy that can step out and shoot it. He's the starting center for Nevada, but one of the better shooting centers in all of the Mountain West Conference. Baker and probably Brandon Horvath from Utah State. They both shoot over 45% from deep.
Kijab losing the ball. And he gets the timeout call, so Boise State's going to hold on to it.
It didn't look like he had full possession there. But Warren Washington was on that ball as well. But Boise State gets the call. You got to have full possession if you're going to look to the referee and call this foul. Tell me where he has full possession. Man, I don't know about that. It looks like Will Baker's got 2 hands on that thing. That should be a jump ball.
Couldn't tell there was such a scramble down there if he got full possession of it, but I think he might be right. Whatever the case may be, Boise State up by 12 with under 3 to go. For much of this first half, they were shooting about 50% from the field. 46% now. Acott leading the way with 14 points.
It's been the defense from Boise State limiting Grant Sherfield and Des Cambridge to a combined 4 of 12 shooting so far. We talked about it in the open, but Nevada beat Boise State 3 times last year. And in those 3 games, Sherfield and Cambridge averaged a combined 48 points between the 2 of them. They were on fire. They've made the proper adjustments and have made those 2 guys work.
Acott out of the game as Shaver takes over and hits the 3. He's now in double figures with 10 points.
In the last 7 games, Marcus Shaver has really blossomed offensively. He's averaging over 15 points a game, and you can just see how confident he is. He's got great range from 3.
Nice job defensively on Sherfield. Here's Black doing the spin move. This ball goes to Boise State. Looks like we have
a flop warning on Shaver. Flopping on one end, but on the offensive end, no flops here. Just a 24-foot contested 3 in front of Grant Sherfield, who just kind of shrugs his shoulders. Hey, coach, I did exactly what you asked. Sometimes, you know, you can play really good defense and doesn't stand a chance against great offense.
With Acott out, it's Kijab launching a 3. Shaver now taking over at point guard for Boise State. Sherfield, a little out of control. Ball gathered by Washington. Can't get that to fall.
That was a wild shot by Warren Washington.
Rice drops it off for Armish.
Well, Max Rice is the son of Leon Rice, number 12 in black. And he's only made 1 3-pointer, 1 for 20 from 3, but that time he makes the extra pass. He's kind of like WD-40 on this team. Just kind of greases the wheels a little bit.
That time, Najee Smith going up and challenging the shot. See the smile on his face?
That's a smile when you think you got all ball and the referee missed it. And that could have been, right? That was an excellent defensive play there. But hey, look, the referees have already made a couple mistakes. That's all right. We make mistakes too, Dan. At least I do. You're usually right on, partner.
And we all do. That is the toughest job in the business, being a referee in football or basketball. Heck, an umpire in baseball. It's
unenviable job.
I don't envy those guys at all.
Warren Washington followed his career. He started at Oregon State, played for head coach Wayne Tinkle. He struggled. I remember watching him his freshman year. He struggled to get playing time. He was, the second string behind Kyler Kelly. Pac-12 fans might remember Kyler Kelly led the Pac-12 in block shots that year. The Warren Washington transfer has found the right fit here in Reno.
Warren Washington has scored in double figures. 6 of his first 8 games of the year. Cooled off a little bit and then had a double-double against New Mexico.
And right there in that ball screen, Dan, Warren Washington was in drop coverage. What does that mean? He's dropped down in the lane. That means you have to go over the ball screen and funnel him to the big. That time, Shaver had his choice. And he pulled up and hit from mid-range. That's bad ball screen coverage by Nevada.
They just look out of sync. The Wolfpack cannot find the rhythm or the flow on offense here.
Watch Washington. So this is Sherfield. He's got to send him one way, and Grant Sherfield is standing on the Mountain West logo, and that is a practice shot for Marcus Shaver Jr. You're either up or you're in drop. If you're in drop coverage, that means Grant Sherfield has to get into the body of Shaver so that he can't just walk into a medium-range jumper.
This is the one play Sherfield tonight has been perfect. 4 for 4 from the line thus far. 8 points leading the way for Nevada, as he usually does.
I call guys like Grant Sherfield 4-level scorers. You'll often hear 3 levels, right? 3, mid-range, and at the rim. And I always say that the 4th level is one of the most important levels. It's the foul line. Good scorers know how to get fouled.
Key job with the strong move, fouled by Washington on the way up, and he's holding the back of his head. Pops up here.
Hard drivers, both key jab and ACOT. Key jab is losing that. Oh, he hit his head on the camera on the baseline. I didn't see that in the first time. Hope he's okay.
Still kind of grimacing a little bit, but he's on his feet and prepared to shoot. Washington a little frustrated. He didn't think he got much of him there.
Yeah, it looked like key jab was already bobbling the ball before that call was even made. But I think there was still some contact there. Key jab, fun player to watch. I mean, obviously it's been the Emmanuel Acott show so far, but key jab has been the heart and soul of this team. Leon Rice calls him the fireman. What do you call him, the fireman? He puts out fires everywhere on both ends of the floor just because of his versatility.
Key jab, a big Kobe Bryant fan. He also calls him the thermostat because he sets the temperature.
He's got a lot of nicknames, man.
I think if you have multiple nicknames, you got to be a pretty good player.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have any, so not sure what that says about me.
Plenty good, my friend, plenty good, as we have 20 seconds to go here in the first half. Sherfield guarded by Acott. This is where he does his best work off the ball screen. Hits his first 3-pointer of the game.
If you're going to switch out on him with your center, Amish, it's a bad matchup.
41-27 at the break. Perhaps that's what Sherfield needs to get things going here in the second half. He does have 12 points, but it has been a hard 12 points for the 5th leading scorer in the Mountain West Conference. First half, all Broncos in Reno, looking for their first win here since 2016. Boise State riding a 7-game winning streak into Reno, and they are up by 14 on the Pack. Marcus Shaver heating up early, hit a couple of threes, 12 points so far for the Broncos.
What was interesting is Emmanuel Aycock got things really rolling for the Broncos, and then Marcus Shaver took that scoring baton and ran with it. An efficient 5 for 8 from the field, and he has outplayed Nevada's backcourt, at least on the offensive end. Shaver, a senior, doing work.
Speaking of Nevada's backcourt, Grant Sherfield, the 5th leading scorer in the conference, started slow. He got to the line. Finally, at the end of the half, he picked up the pace a little.
Yeah, he started 0 for 5 for the 2nd consecutive game, but Boise State, it's hard to shut him down for the entire half, right? It's only a matter of time. Sherfield's got 12 points and 2 assists.
Failure happens to us all, but this is how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is when you get back and when you fall. You better get up. You gotta get up. You gotta get up. I need you to get up. Get up.
After losing 3 times to Nevada last year, the Broncos came into Reno with a burr underneath their saddle, and so far, so good in the first half for Boise.
Boise State's been ultra aggressive on both ends of the floor. Look at it, 17 threes attempted. That's normally kind of flipped, right? You normally expect Nevada to be launching it, and Nevada's got to get some points in the paint. And we knew something had to give in this matchup, Dan. Boise State has a stingy defense. Nevada has an explosive offense, and for the first 20 minutes of this game, it was Boise State who set the tone. Adjustments need to be made, certainly for Nevada. Will Baker, he had 7 points in the first 5 minutes, and he only ended up with 7. They need to get him some touches. He's number 50 in white. And then Warren Washington, number 5, had 0 rebounds in the first half. Yeah, that's their leading rebounder, a guy that had 7 offensive rebounds alone in their last game against New Mexico. He needs to be more active.
Washington coming in, averaging just over 7 rebounds per game. There's Armish with the drive, can't get it to fall. Cambridge scoops up the rebound. And then Armish comes back to block Desmond Cambridge. And Sherfield not wasting any time. 14 points in the game for the Pack's leading scorer.
Sherfield is not super athletic as Nevada gets a steal and a foul. He's not super athletic. He's not a burner. He's not just going to blow by you, but he has such creativity with his shots. The kids call it the bag. His bag is deep with stuff. He's got runners with either hand. He can shoot the 3. He's got a really nice pump fake. He knows what he's doing.
Preseason Mountain West Player of the Year was Grant Sherfield, the newcomer of the year last season after transferring from Wichita State. There they are working it inside. Armish with the block.
And that pass took Will Baker a little bit out of his comfort zone and allowed Armish to recover. Will Baker's got to be quicker, but he's also got to have a better entry pass.
Pump fake from Aycock, kicking it back out. Blackshear playing defense. You're going to call the offensive foul on Armish as Blackshear goes to the ground. Like that call?
Well, it's interesting. I thought there was a flop warning on Nevada in that first half. So if the referees deemed that to be a flop, it might have been a technical foul. But he took the contact. No, I don't like the call. To answer your question, I would rather Blackshear just stand in there, right? I want to see 2 guys battle. I don't want to see one guy go down. That's assistant coach Mike Burns that was just in the picture. as intense of an assistant coach as you'll find. Did you see that from Leon Rice? He had the flop warning sign. He's asking the referees.
So technical foul called. Sherfield hits the first.
Yeah, he got the T because he was arguing that should have been a flop.
It sounds like you agree with him.
Here we go. It's either a flop or a no call. I don't agree with the charge.
Right.
But I'm just a fan of basketball. I don't want anybody to flop. I don't want anybody to fall down. I'd like to see just good post play. Hold your ground.
10-point ball game. Boise State had a 14-point lead at half. And the Pack chipping away here early on in the second.
The length denying Grant Sherfield. Really impressive from number 14, Aycock.
Cambridge gets open and hits.
And even if you deny Grant Sherfield, his backcourt running mate, Des Cambridge, is wide open, arms up in the air. Give me the ball. I know what to do with it. A very good, one of the best isolation players in the conference.
Blackshear goes for the steal. They're going to call foul on him, I believe.
Warren Washington doesn't know where to go. Just get it to Cambridge. Give him a little brush screen. And that was bad defense there from Marcus Shaver. The 6'2 senior died on that screen. Instead of fighting over, he allowed Cambridge to step into one. Cambridge did not have a good first half. He's one of those guys when all he needs is one shot to go down, and now he feels like he's the hottest player in the gym.
Shaver guarded by Sherfield. Shaver. Got it.
Beautiful two-man basketball right there. Don't force it. Draw two players. Everybody else just standing around. That was basically a 2-on-2 basketball. Works out for Boise State.
Back to a 10-point lead for the Broncos.
They got Warren Washington, number 5 in white, on an illegal baseline screen. It was way away from the ball, though. That's why I was a little bit surprised they called that.
Trey Coleman checking into the game for Nevada. Going to give Washington a breather.
It's his third foul. He's an important part of this defensive improvement that we've seen from Nevada. Both these teams got off to really slow starts in their seasons, not just in this game, in the seasons, but it really turned it around, especially defensively for Nevada. More so on the offensive end for Boise. That's what they improved.
There's Aycock, kind of double pump, blocked by Baker, gets it, goes up again, and finishes. Flexing on everybody on his way back down court.
I'm just shaking my head. That is the starting point guard, technically, for Boise State, who's just bulldozing down low.
And here come the Broncos again. Played 5 positions last year. Did Aycock, their primary point guard this year. And he is an important piece to this Bronco puzzle.
Aycock, 6'8", 215 pounds of muscle. And yeah, he's going up against a center. He doesn't care. He puts the shoulder right in him. Look at him flex on him. Go ahead. This Boise State team is constructed uniquely, right? So we've talked about Aycock a lot. Abu Kijab is 6'7", and can also, he's a guy that can rebound the ball and start the break. He can be a point guard. You also have Marcus Shaver, kind of more of a traditional 6'2" guy who can shoot it and drive it. But any one of these Broncos are capable of running the offense, running pick and roll, makes them very difficult to defend.
And they all hit the boards. The #1 offensive rebound team in the Mountain West Conference, also lead the conference in rebounding margin. Abu Kijab, first 2 years at Oregon. This is his 3rd season at Boise State. We talked about all the nicknames, the heart and soul of the team, the thermostat, setting the tone.
Oh, he's the vocal leader. There's no doubt about it. This team feeds off of his energy. And Leon Rice says, I wish all the players were a joy to coach like Abu Kijab.
Aycock called for the foul. Kijab tore his labrum in the final regular season game last year. Prior to that, was flirting with the idea of potentially putting his name in the draft. And after the injury, decided to come back and keep working on his game. And that is Desmond Cambridge. If he starts to heat up, look out. 10 points in the game for Cambridge.
Well, I know this to be a fact. He's not going to stop shooting no matter what happens. He scored 18 points in the last game against New Mexico. It took him 20 shots to get there.
And there's Shaver. Now has 17.
He's from Phoenix, Arizona. He played at Shadow Mountain High School. You know who his high school coach was?
Mike Bibby.
Mike Bibby considers him a mentor. It's one of the reasons why Marcus Shaver Jr. wears number 10. Things are starting to heat up offensively, partner, and I'm all for it. Cambridge, tough. One of the better isolation players in the Mountain West. And here's Shaver, number 10, a la Mike Bibby. Looked like Mike Bibby on that one.
Hit a little bit, didn't he?
He also wears number 10 because his two favorite players growing up were Rajon Rondo and Derrick Rose. Rondo wore number 9. Derrick Rose wore number 1. Add them both together, that's 10. At least my my calculator says it's 10. I'm not sure.
Don't play dumb with me. You went to Stanford. Come on, I went to Tennessee. I know better than that.
Respect, though, for Marcus Shaver Jr. and his efforts so far. We still have a lot of basketball left to be played. These two teams are old, and you can tell. Not just physically, but these two teams are mentally tough. We got a lot of basketball left to be played here.
Dagenhart setting the screen up top for Shaver.
He can shoot it.
Choosing to drive, grabbing his own rebound. Kicking it back out. Aycott got it.
Best time to shoot a three-point shot is off of an offensive rebound. Why? Because the defense is scrambling. They're trying to get the rebound as well, and when they don't get it, they're not standing next to their man, so you're allowed to just step right into one. That time, Boise State did just that.
That was Sherfield. This is Shaver. And ball movement by Boise State is superior. Najee Smith with the finish. Sherfield turns it over. Good quick hands, and once again, Broncos on the move. They're going to call the foul down low on Daniel Foster. Boise State not letting up here in the second half. It has been a while since they've won in Reno. Aycott hitting another three-pointer, leading the way with 19 for the Broncos. 55-38, Boise State on top of Nevada. We talk about the parallels between these two teams. Both started the season poorly, 1-4 for Nevada, 3-4 for Boise State, and both had to dismiss players who were important parts of the rotation.
Yeah, talented starters were dismissed around the same time. Boise State dismissed guard Devonair Dutrieve and have not lost a game since, and their offense has hit another level. Nevada dismissed forward A.J. Brahma and have been 6-1 since then, and defensively, they've looked like a completely different group. Now, I think it's also important to say that Dutrieve and Brahma aren't solely to blame for the slow starts of each of these teams. They're really talented players, but it also just goes to show me and these coaches that chemistry really matters in basketball. Guys need to be pushing in the same direction. So, you know, they wish those two players well. It wasn't a good fit. They wish them good luck elsewhere, but both of these teams are better off so far on and off the floor.
And a turnover off the inbounds here. Desmond Cambridge double teamed at the top, drops it off. Sherfield guarded by Shaver. Loves to work the pick and roll off that ball screen. Down to Washington, textbook finish.
That's just what the doctor ordered for Nevada. Get the ball down low on the block to Warren Washington or Will Baker. When he comes back in, they are talented low post players.
Freshman Dagenhart.
There's only two underclassmen on the floor right now. Dagenhart for Boise, and then Daniel Foster, number 20. He's a sophomore in white.
with his third three, and he's going to get a chance to go to the line as well.
A mistake by Najee Smith for Boise State. You got to mark Cambridge in transition. You got to pick him up higher. You cannot run into the paint. If you're guarding Cambridge, that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is if you're going to contest, you have to fly by the shoulder. You can't leap and go towards the shooter's chest. It's got to be a foul.
So Cambridge with 13. He came into this game as the second leading scorer for Nevada, but when he fills it up in a hurry. He has 5 games this season with 20 or more points.
In fact, he takes more shots while on the floor than Grant Sherfield. Des Cambridge takes 31% of Nevada's shots when he's on the floor. Grant Sherfield takes 27% of the shots. He is extremely dangerous, and right now he's feeling it.
Cambridge, a Brown transfer, the only senior on this team. Led Brown in scoring both of his years when he was a product.
He had 31 against this Boise State team in the Mountain West Conference tournament last year, first round. Knocked out Boise State. They remember.
Aycock pulls up.
That was a settle right there. I'm not sure why he didn't just put him underneath the basket.
Sherfield with a tough driving layup and hits. Sherfield now with a game-high 20.
The crowd finally getting involved too as Cambridge and Sherfield come to life offensively.
Here's Shaver hitting with a hand in his face. And Shaver now has 19, along with Aycock leading the way for the Broncos. Driving one-hander off the mark for Washington.
Nice defense there from Lawlor Armush, number 33. We haven't called Armush's name quite as often as I anticipated tonight. That was an excellent defensive play right there, using his size, 250 pounds, 6'10". He's massive.
Aycock back out to Max Rice. Shaver, one dribble, and another three-pointer for Shaver.
The word that I would use to describe Boise State's last 2 possessions, just patience.
That was a deep three.
And the opposite of patient. Patient does not come to mind when looking at that last possession for Nevada. I'm not mad at Cambridge. He's got the ultra green light. He can make that shot, but only one pass, one goes up. On the other end, the last 2 offensive possessions for Boise State, it's been 5, 6 passes, waiting all the way to the end of the 30-second shot clock, and Marcus Shaver getting to the spot that he wants.
Talked about the experience for Boise State. They returned 12 players from last year's team, 4 senior starters. Coach's son and Max Rice on the floor right now. Here's Armush working on Baker. Backing it down, spinning baseline, hits, and he's going to the foul line. You call for Armush, you have Armush. Boise State doing their best to escape with a victory for the first time in 5 years, getting help from everybody, including this man, Marcus Shaver. Mike DeCourcy busy at work, gives us a new bracket every Tuesday and Friday, and for the Mountain West he has 3 teams. If the season ended today, that would be in the NCAA tournament.
Really impressive what the Mountain West has done. San Diego State, Colorado State, and Wyoming are the 3 teams that Mike DeCourcy has predicted as of now. But there's another tier of teams in the Mountain West. We're watching 2 of them right now, Boise State and Nevada, and then throwing Utah State in there as well. And look at the net rankings. 4 Mountain West teams in the top 50 of the net, 6 in the top 100. That stat, though, in yellow is most important, Dan. Why? Because the non-conference is kind of where you prop up your conference, right? Everybody's going to beat each other up over the next 2 months, but what you do in the non-conference really matters. And the Mountain West close to a 70% win percentage. That's the best since the 2012-13 season.
A great non-conference start to the season for the Mountain West. Sherfield fouled on the shot by Shaver, and he'll shoot 3.
The second time the Broncos have made that mistake. The first was against Des Cambridge on the and one three-point shot in front of their bench, and this time Marcus Shaver, you know better. Marcus Shaver is a 5th-year senior. You cannot have your hand on that elbow. That's a good call, too. A lot of people say hand's part of the ball, but that was on the forearm.
Grant Sherfield, very good from the line, shooting 85%. Also the only player, Casey, in the nation averaging at least 18 points and 6 assists per game.
Yeah, how about that? That's an awesome stat. And it goes to show you, just like, don't take Grant Sherfield for granted. Players of his caliber and his versatility at his position do not come around very often.
One of the reasons he was the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year. Came into tonight averaging nearly 19 points per game. 22 so far in this one. Armish on Baker. Same move he did last time. Baker called for the foul.
Same move, same result, although he made the first one. That time he gets fouled. But Armish is Serbian, okay? I played 8 years overseas after my NBA career ended, and I played with 2 handfuls of Serbians, and they are awesome. They love basketball in that country, especially in Belgrade, the capital city of Serbia. And all of the Serbian players that I played with had 2 things in common. One, they were crazy competitive, and I mean like stubborn, bullheaded, crazy competitive. You couldn't tell them nothing. The other thing, amazing footwork. And when you watch Armish play, he's cut from that same mold. Just really good footwork, high basketball IQ.
5th-year senior Armish. He's a low. 6'10", 240 pounds. Looks a little bigger than that.
But Belgrade, Serbia is where Vlade Divac is from.
Great passer. Vlade can't get it to fall. Here comes Rice.
You can hear the words from, I think that was Acott saying, slow down, slow down. He didn't have numbers. Boise State is content to milk the clock.
And there's Armish again.
I think you heard me talking about Belgrade. And he's getting fired up.
2 Serbians on the team for Boise State. Pavle Kuzmanovic the other.
Yeah, if you're a small Serbian, you know you can shoot it from 3. Look at them shrink the space of Sherfield. 3 jerseys in black staring at him.
Fouled on his way up. A tough attempt coming from Daniel Foster. He'll go to the line. Take a look at that Armish footwork.
Straight from Belgrade, Serbia, right here into your living room. Long steps, taking the contact. The move that he had before that one that we just showed is just so good, right? He just takes the 2 dribbles to the middle, quick little spin, knows how to use his body. And he hasn't had a monster game statistically, Armish. Just 7 points, but he's got 10 boards. And he's just a guy that everybody on Boise State knows they can trust. He's going to be a good anchor for them. He's going to make good choices. He's not going to force the ball on offense.
Armish has led the Broncos in rebounding 25 times in 41 career games since coming over from ETSU. Zach Rice struggled from deep. This whole seat, get the ball back and throws it down. Najee Smith with the steal and the flush for Boise State.
What a play. What a play from Smith off the bench. How are you going to earn more minutes? They're making plays like that.
Rice content to slow things down a little bit.
This lead's ballooned to 17 points.
Tied for the biggest lead of the game for Boise State.
completely controlling tempo, and it's not easy to do against this Nevada team, especially here in Reno.
Here's Armish. And again, you talk about that footwork.
Oh, that's Degenhardt.
Oh, that's Degenhardt. My goodness.
He was watching film on Armish. He goes against him in practice, too, and he's taken down a few notes from Armish. Degenhardt, the freshman, doing work down low, as well as Najee Smith coming off the bench, providing a spark. Boise in complete control.
Casey Jacobson, I think we might have to give Tyson Degenhardt a Serbian passport because he looks so good on this move down low. I actually thought he was Mladen Armish. Look at this.
Do you have the authority to hand out passports like that? That's pretty awesome if you do. Tyson came off the bench for the first 6 games, but when we talked about how Boise State dismissed Devonair Dutrieve, it was Tyson Degenhardt that really filled that void. He plays a different position than Dutrieve. Tyson's more of a forward, a small forward who can step out and shoot. But he is an excellent offensive player who's a very good passer. You see how his stats below. He's had a fantastic floor game, doing a little bit of everything out there.
A 3-time Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Week, one of the best freshmen in the conference this season.
Probably the front runner so far for Freshman of the Year.
I think so. He's averaged. They're going to call the foul on Kijab. He's averaged almost 14 points per game since moving into the starting lineup over the last 8 games.
Wyoming's Marcus Williams won the Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West last year, and then he transferred. He's now playing for Texas A&M, and Wyoming is still awesome, even without Marcus Williams. Leon Rice hopes that Tyson Degenhardt's going to stick around for a long time.
Calling a lane violation here.
Just when you think it can't get any worse for Nevada.
I know.
We've been doing games all year. That's the first free throw lane violation I've seen so far this year, personally.
It's a 19-point lead for Boise State. We talked about that winning streak coming into this game. They've won 7 in a row. And they have outscored their opponents by an average of 18 points per game during that streak. They are certainly on track here. This is Cambridge, who loses the ball. And Boise State again taking advantage with defense. Najee Smith, it's the second time he's stolen the ball and then taken it in for the finish.
Yeah, and both plays that Najee Smith stole the ball were similar mistakes by Nevada. They're just getting a little bit too loose in the open floor. Desmond Cambridge just went between his legs for no reason at midcourt. I don't understand. If they need to be pedal to the metal, driving it to the rim as quickly as they can instead of going east and west.
Last shot by Cambridge. They caught too much. It's a 21-point lead, the biggest of the game for Boise State. Trying the alley-oop, but Kijab was in the way. Not going to let Washington throw that one down. Boise State cranking up the heat on defense. It's turning into points. 21-point lead for the Broncos. So Nevada won all 3 games against Boise State last year. Started in February. Grant Sherfield's jumper with 3 seconds left sealed the deal for the Wolfpack win. 2 days later, Sherfield had a career-high 29 points as the Wolfpack won by 11. And then in the tournament,
big one.
31 points in this one by Desmond Cambridge, a career high.
And I thought Boise State had a team that was certainly good enough to make the NCAA tournament. They were 18-4 at one point and then lose 4 straight. Just a really brutal way to finish that season. They did make the NIT. They did beat SMU in the first round. And then they got beat by Memphis, who ended up winning the NIT. But this is a Boise State team that's got revenge on their mind, and that's why. So that's why that slow start really put them behind the 8 ball. I think that slow start might have taken Boise State out of at-large contention, at least for, we got a lot of season left, but it really did put a lot of pressure on them to perform in the Mountain West. But if they play like they're doing right now in Reno, they got nothing to worry about.
They are looking good tonight, shooting over 50% from the floor, 35% from three-point land, moving the ball well. They're going to call a foul on Daniel Foster. Leon Rice has to be happy with what he's seen tonight. Shaver leading the way with 21 points. Aycott chipping in 19.
Everybody who has stepped on the floor with a Bronco on their chest has contributed something positive. I mean, every single guy. Max Rice hasn't scored. He's only taken 1 shot. He's got 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He's been awesome defensively. A guy that just greases the gears for this team. Been really impressive. A total team effort. Marcus Shaver Jr. and Emmanuel Aycott are shouldering the scoring load in this game, but everybody's getting in and playing their role.
And one of the things we're really seeing is Boise State moving the ball well. That's one of the things that Coach Rice talked about with us as Nevada gets the bucket from Warren Washington. Is since they made that change in the starting lineup and dismissed Dutrieve, everything just started gelling a little more on the offensive end of the ball. One of the things that Dutrieve would do is when the ball would go to him, he was a good player, and he would kind of do his own thing, but they're sharing the ball a little bit better now. You see it right here. Shaver from the corner.
And that ball doesn't go down, but it's exactly right. It's a quality possession. The ball moves side to side, and we talked about Dutrieve. It's not all on him, but he was an inefficient shooter. Just shot 23% as Sherfield gets another mid-range floater to go down. We've still got a lot of game left, and Sherfield and Cambridge, they have more shots locked and loaded. Well, Boise State needs to be careful here. But if they're going to do that, if Nevada's going to play defense like that, then maybe they don't have to worry.
It's Najee Smith with 11 points now.
Nice block.
Nothing going there for Sherfield. Right into some Emmanuel Aycott.
This is just, where's the backside help? Matador defense, no help at all. Everybody hugging their man for Nevada. It's hard to win. If you're giving up layups and dunks in the second half of a game at home, it's hard to win.
Washington on the drive. And he now has 11. Third player in double figures for Nevada. Right on his season average. Inside to Armish. I don't know why he went for the reverse there. If he would have just taken it up a little bit quicker, I think he could have had to.
He felt the shot blocker, Warren Washington, breathing down his neck. Instead of just going right up, maybe out quicking Washington, he gave him a chance to block it, or at least affect it.
Armish, a very good basketball player. I don't know how often he out-quicks any guys in the paint.
Fair point. Armish, we looked through the game notes, and one of the things I noticed about Armish is he has scored in double figures only 5 times this season, but Boise State's 5-0 when he does it. And there's a reason why, right? When he's got it going, he's a willing passer out of the post, and he just makes everybody else's job a little bit easier. And also, one of the things I noticed, if you get a big guy going, he's a lot more willing to set monster screens, right?
So you made friends with all the big guys.
Yes. Yeah, if you're smart, if you're a smart basketball player, you make friends with the bigs. You make sure you pass them the ball when they have deep post position. And you thank them for setting screens.
The technical foul on Grant Sherfield. That's why Max Rice was at the line.
That's unusual. Grant is emotionally, he's exactly what you want from a point guard. He has even emotions. He's even keeled. That time he's a little frustrated. He's having a good game. Sherfield's got 24 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Like, it's been, if you look at the box score, Sherfield and Cambridge are shooting well and they're scoring well. It's the lack of production from the supporting cast tonight. I know Warren Washington's got a couple buckets in the last few possessions, but no, Sherfield and Cambridge have combined for 38 of Nevada's 58 points.
Yeah, Will Baker started off so strong, and he's been kind of quiet. Keenan Blackshear has yet to score a point for Nevada. Here's Aycock. Foul called on Hasinovic.
Tick-and-tack on there. That's exactly what you don't want for Nevada, right? Boise State is content to run 30 seconds off the shot clock. You play defense for 20 seconds, and then you foul when there's 10 left, and you send them to the foul line. It's frustrating.
Sophomore from Bosnia takes a seat as Aycock goes to the line. Looking to make it an even 20, and he does.
He's been awesome today. You know, the one thing I thought about Emmanuel Aycock, he does just about everything, but he only averages 2.8 rebounds. Like, that one kind of jumped out at me. He's 6'8", super athletic. He's got to be averaging more than 3 rebounds a game. Marcus Shaver is averaging 4 rebounds, and he's 6'2".
Maybe it's because he's always getting back there on defense.
Maybe.
Playing point guard. Of course, so Shaver.
No, I mean, Aycock's been amazing. I'm just saying, you're making excuses for him. I'm saying I think he's got a little bit more potential that is untapped. If there's one thing that he could be working on, he's got to go down there and battle with some of the bigs. Help him out a little bit.
Trey Coleman battling right there. Been such a good defender for Nevada, who is sitting on 60 points. And as good as Boise has played, the Wolfpack, the first team to score 60 points on them during this winning streak, during the 7-game winning streak, not a single team has scored 60 points on Boise. That's how good Boise State's defense is going.
That's a remarkable number. In a 40-minute basketball game,
incredible.
With the 3-point shot as prevalent as it is, and someone's bound to just start throwing up some stuff and get lucky.
Got off the mark. And there's Armish. Oh, I thought, almost did the splits there. Got rid of it before he traveled though. That looked painful.
That was awful. He thought he was Vlade. He thought he was Vlade Divac right there. His homie from Serbia.
Look at just a little slippage.
That's not the Serbian footwork that we've been talking about.
That was a good. Hey, the fact that he got rid of that ball before they called travel was pretty good. Sherfield called for the foul on Aycock. Wasn't happy about it, but realized that he don't even call for a technical, so probably should just let sleeping dogs lie. And for Nevada, we've talked about the 7-game winning streak for Boise State. Been playing so well when they've actually been out there on the court. 6-1 in their last 7, with their only loss coming in that quickly scheduled road game against Kansas. And Kansas took it to them, but they would take it to most, as we mentioned earlier, especially on a home court.
The problem with Nevada, as far as the resume is concerned, they're 0-4 against teams that are ranked in the top 100 of KenPom, according to KenPom.com. They don't have any big wins. Whoa!
Keenan Blackshear with his first points of the night, and you're feeling that all over the arena.
Yeah, I think Blackshear was frustrated, and he took it out on the rim.
Had a couple of nice dunks tonight. Deep for Smith. It looked like we have a rolled ankle here from Blackshear as he's trying to walk that off. And a foul call as well. 77-63. Keenan Blackshear, say hello.
They lost to Villanova at home today. It's been their nemesis. They can't get past them.
There's no need for a bounce back for Emmanuel Acott and Marcus Shaver. Shaver with a season high 21. Acott 2 points shy of tying a career high.
His career high is 24.
Indeed. Against St. Bonaventure in November. 6 3-pointers in that game for Acott. And he is now 1 point away from tying his career high.
He's made 33s this season. That's the most on the team. And doing it at a high clip, over 40%.
He's going to sit on 23.
I wonder if he knows what his career high is, and that free throw miss might keep him from tying it.
Blackshear on the drive. I'm guessing you knew when you were close to a career high.
So it's interesting. My career high was 49 points at Stanford. We were playing against Arizona State, but we didn't have the jumbotrons that kept that, on display.
Yeah.
You couldn't see it. So it was, 2001 or 2002 when that was.
Now, was that just because Stanford was so smart they knew that they shouldn't let the players see how many?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask them. I just know that it wasn't on display. So unless you're counting in your mind or somebody tells you, you don't know how many points you have.
Did he beat it?
The buzzer went off before he shot that.
Well, if it did, he will not be etching a new career high. Let's take a look. With the clock here.
The clock's
in his hand. Looks like he got it out.
That's really close, but you might be right, partner. I think that might count. In hearing it live, I thought the buzzer definitely went off when the ball was still in his hand.
Thank goodness for glorious instant replay.
Replay in a 13-point game with 3 minutes to go. This is a big play, kind of. I mean, look, I know that Boise State has pretty much dominated this game from tip to where we are right now. But it's not inconceivable that Nevada reels off a couple of threes in a row. But
not at all. But down by 13.
Which makes this a big call, Dan. I mean,
here's the other thing. Remember earlier in the game when the buzzer went off and the lights were stuck on the backboard. So we're not seeing the backboard light up like we normally would. On the buzzer, there's no visual that we can see, so it makes it slightly more difficult to tell exactly when the ball left his hands and the buzzer went off.
If it's good, Acott's got a new career high, by the way.
Yes, he does. So that would be 26 points. I don't think Emmanuel Acott's career high is what they were hoping to witness in Reno tonight, all the fans that rolled in, huh?
In fact, we talked about Nevada and how much they've improved their defensive effort. Only 2 players in their recent play, the last 7 games, right, where Nevada's 6-1 in those 7 games. Only 2 opposing players have scored 20 or more against this Nevada defense. LMU's Kelly LePepe had exactly 20, and then Kansas's Christian Brown had 22 in that demolition in Lawrence. But they've done a good job of holding down the opposing team's stars, if you will, but not tonight. This is going to be a film session that Steve Alford's probably going to be doing a lot of screaming.
Well, like so many teams in the Mountain West, more than 20 games as we are waiting to see if this shot from Emmanuel Acott beat the buzzer. It does seem like that is the case, but they are going to give us their decision here momentarily. This is the part I never understand, Casey. He either did or he didn't. What are they talking about?
Well, they have to have a consensus, right? So they have to have 2 against 1 here in order to make the call. And if there's doubt, they're talking it over. I mean, look, I've never been an official before, and I don't plan on ever putting on one of those jerseys. They say no.
Saying no, so maybe our clock was off. But it is, again, they had that issue earlier in the game with the shot clock. So could be issues there. Aycott's going to have to wait for a new career high. Leon Rice is saying, are you sure about that? Sure.
Yeah, and he looks up at the board. It's a big difference. Like, I know it might sound silly, but 16 versus 13 with 2:50 to go. It's a big difference there.
Blackshear for 3, and now it's a 10-point ball game. Casey, you could be wishing this into reality, my friend. 10-2 scoring run for Nevada in the last 2:27.
This is Port Eagles. 2 players guarding Grant Sherfield, 0 players guarding Keenan Blackshear, who's a decent three-point shooter, 35% on the year. And that one was like nobody else in the gym. Practice shot.
Blackshear didn't have a point until a couple of minutes ago. Throws down a monster dunk. And now hits a big 3 to make it a 10-point ball game. Nevada not out of this with 2:36 to go in the game.
Especially if, you know, like even if Marcus Shaver Jr. makes both of these free throws, Nevada's going to be looking to score quickly. They don't have to shoot threes, but you better believe with this roster, Sherfield, Cambridge, Blackshear, they're going to be, even Will Baker, number 50, can launch it from deep as well. You're going to trade 2s for 3s, Dan.
Yeah, no doubt. Adding to his season high is Shaver. He had a hand injury on his non-shooting hand during the fall. So in the first few games of the year, he had his fingers taped together, and he didn't feel as comfortable handling the ball, even though it was his off hand. And now that ligament damage is fully healed, and he's much more comfortable out on the floor. Try to get it to Blackshear again. Look at Aycott just all over Cambridge there, not going to allow him to get open, and Sherfield has to force it up. Armish brings it in, and we have just over 2 minutes to go.
And right now, the clock is more important to Boise, running time, than actually scoring. They don't have to score right now, but they do need to use all 30 seconds.
And there's Sherfield called for the foul.
He wasn't trying to foul there.
He did not intend to do, no, not at all. Didn't seem like a whole lot here, Casey.
I mean, maybe the referee sometime. Well, I mean, he did put 2 hands on him. So, like, by the letter of the law, that is a foul. But normally referees are a little bit more forgiving under 2 minutes.
24 points for Marcus Shaver.
He's been big today.
The senior from Phoenix has been outstanding.
Will Baker's got to shoot that. I don't know why he passed that up.
Oh, no. Key jab lands awkwardly on his knee. Trey Coleman off the mark. Shaver grabs a rebound.
Are you going to call a timeout here, or is he okay?
I can't imagine he hopped right back up.
The guys on the bench over at Boise are laughing at him. There his team is. They're smiling, laughing at that missed dunk. That was a really awkward landing, though. It looked like his ankle bent backwards.
Still appears to be grimacing a little bit. Good to see him up. Shaver is on fire. 28 points for Marcus Shaver. And they're going to call the foul on Key-Jab.
Marcus Shaver. I remember watching him at Portland. He was playing for Terry Porter in the WCC conference. His first 2 years, Portland went a combined 17-47 in his first 2 years, and Marcus was like, I'm a winner. I got to get out of here. I got to go to Boise State. And he has been a great pickup for Leon Rice. It's his second year with the Broncos. Averaging 13 points. That average is going up tonight.
A couple of years at Portland. And now in his third season at Boise State. He has never scored 28 points in a game in a Broncos uniform. So a career high as a Bronco for Marcus Shaver.
And to do it on the road is pretty cool too. It's a lot more fun as a player to silence a road crowd than it is to pump up the home crowd, in my opinion. I think Marcus Shaver probably feels the same way. Boise State is a really impressive road win. They've won at least 3 road games in Mountain West Conference play every year since 2014. Only 3 programs can say that. Boise State, Fresno State, and San Diego State. It's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Aycott has it poked away. Remember, he's still going for that career high. Let's see if they give him a shot out of here. Guess is probably not. So Boise State has a trip planned to New Mexico on Saturday, and then it's a home game against Air Force on Tuesday for Nevada after this break in which they played only 3 games in the month of December. They have 3 games now in a span of 7 days. So these are going to be a busy couple of teams. And it has been a bit since Boise State has won in Reno since 2016, to be exact.
Wow.
Snaps a 4-game losing streak. Remember those 3 losses?
Yes.
Last year to Nevada basically kept them out of the NCAA tournament you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I think it was on the mind of this Broncos squad. They have unfinished business this year, especially with this Nevada team that beat them all 3 times last year. A fantastic effort on both sides of the ball for Broncos. To me, their best performance of the season.
Marcus Shaver, Emmanuel Aycott combining for 51 points for the Broncos. Getting a monkey off their back in Reno. 85-75.